What's going on there, everyone? Got a really interesting story from a PJ Media. It kind of shows the dysfunction that we have going on with this whole leftist movement that we've been seeing. Ruth Bader Ginsburg praises Kavanaugh. Think progress writer has a meltdown. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg has been caught committing the ultimate sin in the era of permanently shrill division. She praises a colleague who she doesn't always agree with politically. Business Insider. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg on Wednesday night referred to her colleague Justice Brett Kavanaugh as a very decent person who she lamented what she characterized as the dysfunction surrounding the confirmation process for new justices. For those of you who don't know or didn't pay attention or whatever, when Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation process was going on, a bunch of women came out, a bunch of liberal activists really came out and tried to smear him with sexual assault allegations and just completely out of control allegations. It was something to behold that they would try to tarnish this guy with such utterly ridiculous claims. It was something. It was something. The notorious RBG, God, I hate when they say that, obviously hasn't gotten the memo that anyone falsely accused and smeared by the liberals in the name of social justice are to remain permanently smeared, even once they're exonerated. Ruth Bader Ginsburg had the gumption and audacity to praise another conservative on the court. Ginsburg replied by defending Kavanaugh and her other relatively new colleague, Justice Neil Gorsuch, according to the National Review. My two newest colleagues are very decent, very smart individuals, Ginsburg said. Now, that right there, just that simple act of just humility and knowing that they have to work together on a bipartisan basis will make people from the progressive left go insane. They do not want their people working with a conservative in any way, whether it's going to benefit everybody or not. It's just they don't want to. As you can see from the House and the Senate, how they're fighting, nothing's been getting done since the Democrats took the House. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. They're obstructionists. Yeah, but let's continue. Noted ninny and columnist for the progressive website Nuthouse, Think Progress, Ian Milsner, or Milser, excuse me, doubted the sincerity of the usually revered Ginsburg's comments. This is indeed exactly what a person who may need to get Kavanaugh's vote in the future case should say about him in public. No, if you look at it, Kavanaugh has been very independent when it comes to the rulings he's been making. Very independent, enough to upset conservatives here and there. So, I don't know. He is actually working from a constitutional basis and not a partisan type basis. That's what we need in the Supreme Court, you know. I don't know why they'd be upset with them actually working together. When the government's working together, the progressives are upset. That's ridiculous notion right there. That is a ridiculous notion. But let's continue. It's more than understandable that that name is screwing my head up. Milsinger, whatever, possesses neither the intellectual nor the emotional tools to process a liberal praising a couple of conservatives. Progressives like him live in constant fear of being confronted in person with a contrary opinion. He no doubt surrounds himself with similar non-thinkers who would experience a meltdown if anyone in their circle ever said anything remotely charitable about conservatives. Which is true. Just turn on MSNBC and watch for one night a whole primetime section from 8 to 11. And and you will be shocked. Their so-called conservatives they have on there aren't conservatives. If anything, they're cuck-servatives. But yeah, it's insane. Milliser, God, Milliser. It's an easy name. It just looks ridiculous in my head. I don't know. Could have availed himself of a little thing called Google to refresh his memory about RBG's abiding friendship with the late, great Justice Antonin Scalia. I don't know. He wasn't all that great in my opinion, but for anyone else who may have forgotten, here's Ginsburg's eulogy for Scalia. Enjoy. I'm not going to play that. If you want to watch it, you can go right ahead, but I'm not. I watched it when it happened. I don't need to rehash that. But yeah, this article is very interesting because it shows the divide from reality and just this crazy orange man bad mentality. The only reason that these progressive liberals can't get over her working with these conservatives is just because they want to obstruct anything conservative. Anything conservative. They just hate it. A lot of them do have socialist views. I mean, it's shocking the percentage of Americans who don't see socialism as a bad thing. And they're generally all progressives. I haven't met anyone who's not a so-called, progressive that doesn't like it. So it's just weird. We live in a strange time right now, where normally we would like to see people working together on a bipartisan basis and actually getting things done for the American people. But here, nowadays, it's become so convoluted with just nonsense that people are praising people who refuse to work together, and they're just completely against the ones who do want to work. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, The government's supposed to work, and when two factions of the government aren't working together, the government's not working well. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And they always want to blame it on, the conservatives, why stuff doesn't get done. And it's completely false. I mean, sure, there are some conservatives. It's more the libertarian-leaning, the hard libertarian-leaning conservatives that cause a little bit of problems. But, they have their views and opinions, and by God, they like to voice them, and that's fine. There's only a few of them. Actually, I would say, yeah, it's the Tea Party conservatives that cause issues a lot. But still, like I said, that's one of the good things about the Conservative Party, too, is we have two different groups, really, where you got your Tea Partiers and whatnot, and then you got your regular old Republican conservatives. But they still work together very well. If you look at the left, they got little two groups too. They got their moderates and centrist, and then this new progressive wing, which is small. It's growing because, they're pandering to this small percentage, very small percentage, for brownie points, which is actually making them look even worse. Which I don't know if there's I really do wonder if there are Republican plants inside of the Democratic Party that are causing this, because, my God, the divide within their own party is almost worse than the divide between the Democrats and Republicans. It's something else. It's something else. But I'm rambling too much. I say kudos to RBG. I think what she did is normal, respectable, and it's the way it should go in the government. It's the way it should go. There's so much in the House and in the Senate. There is so much angst between the two. There's actual hatred between the two parties. At least on the Supreme Court, you're seeing a little bit better behavior, so to say, out of them. They're actually making more sense. They're working somewhat together. And yeah, the House and the Senate could learn something from old Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I think we all could learn a little something about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, because I come down hard on the Democrats all the time. It's kind of what I do. You know, I'm a proud, staunch conservative, and the Democratic Party has gone so left that it's just out of control. It is going so far left that they have a serious problem, and they got to figure out what to do about it. We all need to figure out what to do about it. I think personally we should just stop paying attention to them. You know, everyone who is sick of the Democrats and their BS, stop paying attention to them, stop voting for them until they realize the error of their ways, because they are dividing the country harder. They bring up race like it's something that's like it's 1850 something. Now, you know, it's insane the way they're bringing up stuff and how they I just, you know, stuff like that bothers the crap out of me, because we should be trying just to keep America and Americans together, you know. I know the left is full of tribalism, and the right has some issues with it too. We're all one tribe, people. We're all the American tribe. We need to get a handle on what's going on. We need to get a handle. And the most pressing matter is getting a handle on the far left and the progressive left. Because their ideas are way too radical. They fiscally won't work. I mean, it's a nightmare. And they just try to say we're giving you stuff for free when nothing's free. We know that. I mean, their biggest policy changes are stopping all the tax cuts we've been getting. You know, stop that. Taxes got to go back up. This, that, and the other, because how else are they going to pay for all their pie in the sky ideas? They're going to tax the people to bejesus. It would be incredible. But I'm ranting again. This might be my only video for the day. Me and my son are going to be outside, you know, living life, having a good time. It's a beautiful day. I suggest everyone get outside. It's the beginning of the weekend for most of us. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great day. And as always, like, share, and subscribe. I will catch you on the flip side.